A while back I did a series of transmission repair videos on how to get a hydrostatic transmission on a riding mower fixed, and it helped a lot of people. It got quite a few views. There's a new kind of transmission you're starting to see a lot more, and instead of having the typical hydraulic pump, it's going to have a drive belt like you find on a snowmobile or a four-wheeler. So I'm going to show you how to identify the failure point of this. It gives the same result, it basically doesn't move forward well.
Brian's Mobile One.
Look at the bumper on this thing. This is a Craftsman riding lawnmower. It's a late model, heavy duty one. This one is sporting the Kohler 7000 Elite Series. It's a 24 horsepower. It's kind of a big kid on the block. You probably haven't seen them look like this before, and that's because this one's torn down. You can see the top of it's over here. We had a failure where the drive system wasn't going forward, and it kind of catch. Reverse was really iffy, and the reason being is it actually has a snowmobile type clutch, or like the Polaris four-wheelers use. And it's got a couple of different discs that work on each other. So they go like this, and then there's a belt that goes between. Underneath of this, there's 4 balls in it. These are the instructions that came with the new stuff. If you look on the diagram, it shows this centrifugal clutch here, to where when the balls go to the outside, when you rev the engine up, it pushes this up against the other side, and the other side's spring-loaded. And that's the part that failed. This is what the part should look like. This is the top half of that pinch disc, or whatever you want to call it. And then this is the other one. You can see that the middle kind of puked out. This is that bottom half. There's a special tool that goes through this hole so that you can grip the shaft so that this doesn't turn. And then you can take the nut off, but you got to be careful or else the balls go everywhere. It's a little bit tricky. This is the belt, and looking at the belt, you can see where all the wear was down here. That wear was from the belt making contact with the nut, and that's what was able to get it to move at all. Otherwise it would have just been revving and not moving at all. To get into this, there's a little Torx driver. I believe it's a T20. This is the adjustment nut. If it's creeping in neutral, you back this off. It's got a little spring on it. You can just stick it underneath the guard here, and it will spin this, and then this goes around here to spin the rest of it. But you do have to take this belt off to get the other drive belt on. And just like every other snowmobile or Polaris four-wheeler or whatever, this goes on here. So when we ordered this, it was for a Husqvarna lawn tractor. It just happened to be on, I think it was on Amazon. I'll leave a link if I can find one. This goes on here, and then you've got 4 bolts that are Torx that go onto here, and I believe they're the same size. So that's all in place now. It's got some teeth that you line up. You see there? And here, so just put the bolts in, put that like that, and just put the plate on top, and voila, we're in business. That little hole that was in the shaft that we saw before, this goes down on that. So put that on there, the spring goes on the inside to here. So the spring goes here, this goes over top, and then you just push that down. And of course, these correspond with each other. To get the top of the tractor apart, and this isn't all encompassing, this is just a quick thumbnail sketch of what to expect. So you've got a couple of bolts that hold the top half on. There's actually 4 here, and then 1 here, and then 1 on the side. This is the bottom side of it. So you can see you've got bolts here, here, a couple in the front and there. These unbolt to get the steering out. You don't have to worry about anything with the steering wheel or the cover. We pulled that out hunting around looking for a way to get at it. It just all goes through here. The way to get all this out is just through the bottom. So it's just zip, 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 and you're out. Disconnect the battery, the positive, this plug. All of these things get unplugged. This does, these two. You'll notice that they're different sizes, so you can pull them apart without having to worry too much about it. You don't have to undo the cable for the engine speed. You can just lay it on the side if you've got some room. You also have a plug to undo here. Here's your wire harness. That goes to your positive. So you just lay the harness out of the way. Nothing too terrible. Another thing you have to mess with is the gas cap. You gotta take it all the way off. You gotta pull all this off. Shouldn't have put it back on, but we were in a hurry. Work this around to where it's in the up position, like you see there. Peel it off. for storage. It's been sitting for a week waiting for parts to come in. This goes up through the mower. You'll notice that it's kind of skinny. You got to twist it and get it just so that it'll fit through the mower deck. Of course, I'm talking about this. Gas filler goes through here. And you've got a pedal here. You'd think it'd be really hard to get this all done. Well, I'll tell you what, it's even harder to try to reach and work through here. You can replace a belt this way, but it's a pain. I wouldn't recommend it. When you go to put this half of the clutch setup on there, you're gonna find that it hits on the bar that goes to the height adjustment on the deck. What you can do is you can pull the bolt on each side, and they're 9/16 inch, and then lift up on the mower deck, and you'll find that it'll give you just enough space. I grab this underneath, lift with your knees, not with your back. Once you lift the deck up, you can move this back, and it'll give you enough room to where you can come on and off. Find there's a connector here that splices together the transmission harness for the reverse kill, whatever kind of deal. That's it right there. This is a little kickstand for the fuel tank. It's got a little clip that you hold right here. You can see right there. There's a molding in the tank to accept that. So it just sits between there, in the back here, it's got a little saddle, and then this, and that's it. You got one plug going to the seat for the upper deck, and that's about it. So you just got to stab this. Going together, you got to stab the fuel filler, you got to stab this guy, and get this to go up through the hole in the deck. That hole being the one that's under the seat, that big square one. As for this, that just sits up on the front here. That's another point of contact where there's a rubber bushing that just kind of holds that in place. Otherwise, it's just got to pass through where your seat bolts are. You just lift that up first. If the tank just lifts out, it's no big deal at all. Just like that. When I was working on it, I had this thing here flipped up like that, and I was like, man, this is not holding solid. But to put it in, it's real easy. You just put it in its respective holes. Really simple design. Just make sure this side of the tank goes in first. And then line this up. It'll lift it. And then it'll just get happy. Just like that. All right, maiden voyage time. This feels a little stiff. Well, let's put it on the charger, see what happens. I've got the charger all hooked up. It's on 25 amps. Let's see what it does. Great. Which means it should start. Should be pretty good. Clutch. Not clutch, brake. Full choke. That's good. Let's see if it can climb. The real test is if you can reverse up something. You're going to push the pedals really hard. It doesn't want to go the first time. You have to hit it twice. And even with it being full blast, it's just not satisfactory in the speed to me. I think that's the model. As far as hook up and torque, it's got it. It just feels and feels. That one's not going. This one's going. And on this one, that one's going. He's up in the trailer like a sweetheart now.
Bonus footage at the end.
Bill always makes it look easy.
Yeah, he does. He's got extra parts in his front suspension other people don't have. So we got one of those new fancy 3-wheel drive rigs. Front locker's leaking a bit. You'd never guess it for the stuff that we've been through.
Rear-wheel drive.
I don't care who you are, where you've been, what you've done. That is gnarly. Put a finger in the dark. Holy smokes, look at that. Dude, that's
Nicely done.
very nice. Dude, that is a capable rig and an experienced driver.